Ya que salió, dando la vuelta ya.
Dale, gracias.
Tierra. Vayan de lado, coño.
No mames. No, no, no.
¡No, pendejo!
No, güey. No, pendejo. ¡Ve qué estúpido!
Que lo está llevando el agua. Está dando vuelta.
Prendió toda la fascia, güey, no mames. No.
El agua lo está sacando, ¿no, Ellen? ¿Por qué no quiere ver?
No mames.
No mames, cabrón. ¿Se le advirtió o no? ¿Se le advirtió? Chingue su madre. ¡Cuidado, compa! ¡Aguas, aguas! ¡Dale!
¿Dónde está?
El del
Vela, el azul.
ahí se lo va a llevar. Ay Dios, mira cómo lo levanta. Ay, no traje mi teléfono.
Ese coche de grilla no va a prender.
¿De quién es el azul? Ahí se lo está llevando. El azul.
Pero de todas maneras no pueden hacer nada.
No, el azul se lo va a llevar.
Pero ya no pueden
¿De
hacer
quién es
nada.
el azul, Jorge? Es tuyo. Ay, de ella. Es de ella. Es de ella.
O avião vai fazer? Vai-se meter nesta nuvem gigante.
Vai. O drama de meter-se nesta nuvem gigante é que não vem nada.
Não vem nada.
Então pode correr mal.
Bye, avião. Bye, mirinho. Porra, se isto vem para este lado.
Olha para baixo. Aí, dá-lhe, aí.
Yo lo he grabado. ¡Ay, no!
¿El qué? Esto es lo que quedó de la playa del restaurante Estorrent. Sì, il contatore l'ho visto. Che cazzo arriva a casa adesso? No, fai la foto.
Cesare! Ma dai, come si fa? Levati. Cesare, poi sei entrata,
潇潇名苑地下室有3个人，现在消防队来了，马上把这救人呢得打不着了，水里还有啊，这都是。
Сибирь в огне. Самая сложная обстановка в Якутии, Красноярском крае, Бурятии и Иркутской области. Как пожарный десант борется с огнем? Зачем взрывать лес? И стоит ли ждать помощи от погоды? Вы смотрите «Погоду» на телеканале «Россия-24». И я Евгений Тишковец, ведущий специалист Центра ФОБОС. Здравствуйте. Итак, в Сибири бушуют природные пожары. По ситуации на 9 августа огонь охватил более 110 тысяч гектаров леса на территории Якутии, Красноярского края, Бурятии и Иркутской области. На борьбу с пожарами брошено около 3000 пожарных десантников, авиалесохраны и 500 единиц наземной техники. Основная доля работ выполняется наземной группировкой сил. Прокладка минерализованных полос, расчистка лесных завалов идет с помощью лопат, бензопил. Более 70 тысяч гектаров леса горят в Якутии. 30 тысяч гектаров тайги пылают в Красноярском крае. В числе регионов-лидеров по горимости остаются Бурятия и Иркутская область. Как раз в этих регионах пожарные используют инновационные методы борьбы с огнем.
A tropical storm is moving northeast along the coast of Japan's main island of Honshu, bringing heavy rain to wide areas. 2 people have died and over 50 others have been injured. The An River overflowed in Shiga Prefecture in the early hours of Tuesday. Previously, Typhoon Noru was downgraded just before making landfall near Osaka. The storm is moving north-northeast at a speed of 20 kilometers per hour, but it's packing winds of up to 72 kilometers per hour at its center. Torrential rains are hitting spots in wide areas. Strong winds that seemed like a tornado knocked over vehicles and damaged about 30 houses in the city of Toyohashi. Authorities of many municipalities are advising people to be on the alert for landslides and floods. About 116,000 people in 4 prefectures are on evacuation standby. Airlines have also cancelled some 65 flights.
Now, back here in Korea, it's not just human beings suffering from the prolonged spell of hot weather we've been having. The heat wave has taken a heavy toll on livestock. According to the Ministry of the Interior and Safety, more than 2.7 million livestock, mostly poultry, have died in the sizzling temperatures. The mass deaths began late last month when the government began issuing nationwide heat wave warnings and advisories. Chickens were the worst affected since they're raised in already hot and cramped conditions. Agricultural Ministry officials advise farmers to install temperature control facilities and make sure they're insured against such losses.
Combating climate change is no longer an option but a necessity here in Korea. Temperatures steadily creep up, and meteorologists say by 2070, summer could stretch half a year. Yoon Shin looks into the inevitable consequences ahead as the mercury spikes and what can be done to prevent extreme changes.
Coffea arabica is one of the world's most loved coffee beans, accounting for over 60% of the global coffee production. The evergreen shrub is naturally found throughout warmer regions in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. But this farm, blanketed with thousands of arabica trees, is in South Korea. Korea started to grow coffee trees not too long ago. As the plant can tolerate low temperatures but not frost, it would have been nearly impossible to grow these in the past, as winters were harsher.
The ideal temperature for Arabica ranges from 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. 40 or 50 years ago, we would have had to have many small greenhouses instead of large-scale vinyl greenhouses like this one with heaters everywhere in the farm to keep it warm. Nowadays, the underground heating system is enough to keep the temperature right, so it saves costs.
Shorter, warmer winters have brought about other shifts in the local agriculture industry. Jeju Island used to be home of subtropical Jeju tangerines, producing over 99% of the fruit. But they have been harvested on the mainland for about a decade now. Other regional specialties such as Cheongdo peaches and Daegu apples have lost their meaning as the planting boundaries have moved northward over the years.
Due to global warming, the nation is turning into a subtropical location, with average temperatures rising, tropical nights lasting longer, and precipitation patterns shifting. We can find a way to take advantage of the climate change in agriculture and fishery industries, but global warming also brings meteorological disasters and abnormal conditions that lead to all kinds of damage.
Over the past century, average yearly temperatures have increased by nearly 2 degrees Celsius. And these higher temperatures have brought about visible effects, with the number of people admitted to hospital with symptoms caused by heat waves in July doubling over the past 5 years.
I'm sweating the moment I step outside. I didn't have to use AC as often in the past, but now I blast it all day. I'm worried it will even get hotter.
About 20 years ago, I don't recall feeling suffocated by the heat or tropical nights keeping me up.
A day with an average temperature of 20 degrees Celsius or higher. That's how some experts define a summer day. About 100 years ago, here in Seoul, summer lasted a little over 90 days. But in recent years, the hot season has dragged on for more than 130 days.
The longer summers are caused by many factors, but they're mostly centered around rising global greenhouse gas emissions. If the gas emissions continue to follow the current trend, it will lead to the global carbon dioxide readings doubling by the year 2100. By then, it's expected that Korea will have 40 more days of summer than now.
As one of the 200-odd nations that have agreed to the Paris Climate Accord, Korea aims to combat global warming by curbing greenhouse gas emissions by 37% by 2030. But that alone won't alleviate extreme weather change.
Carbon dioxide spreads easily, meaning one country's CO2 emissions will affect other nations. So in order to see some results in combating climate change, it would require all nations' participation. Korea is taking an active part by pursuing its reduction goals, but other than appeasement, local adaptation policies for extreme changes should be followed.
As the changes we see today are the outcome of decades of global industrialization, for the time being, researchers say Korea can expect even more dire shifts of climate ahead. So, while efforts to eliminate the root cause are a must, just as important is securing infrastructure to help cope with the immediate changes that affect the day-to-day lives of residents. 이은신, 아리랑 뉴스.
A sunny summer day in the Rose Garden, and amidst all the trappings of a celebration, President Trump announces his intention of withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord.
The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States.
And in this past week, a letter has been delivered to the UN Secretary General confirming the U.S. intention to proceed with withdrawal. This, the UN's written response. It is crucial that the United States remains a leader on climate and sustainable development. Climate change is impacting now. Among those who need to sign off on the federal climate report is a director of the Environmental Protection Agency. At his Senate confirmation hearing, Scott Pruitt was evasive when asked directly whether or not he believed in climate change.
Let me say to you, science tells us that the climate is changing, and then human activity in some manner impacts that change. The ability to measure with precision the degree and extent of that impact and what to do about it are subject to continuing debate and dialogue.
The report says every corner of the U.S. has been touched by climate change. It specifies the number of cold nights has decreased since the 1960s, while the number of warm days has increased. And extreme cold waves are less common since the 1980s, while extreme heat waves are more common. And this will continue unless there's a major drop in the levels of carbon dioxide, which the Paris Accord is designed to achieve. Even traditionally hot states like Arizona have experienced higher temperatures than ever before. Extreme flooding in areas like New Orleans and Miami seen as a direct consequence of rising temperatures. Yet in the face of this, the Trump administration is attempting to censor the term climate change. Emails made public reveal that employees at the Department of Agriculture, for example, are instructed to use the term weather extremes. And instead of saying greenhouse gas emissions, they are instructed to say, and I quote, build soil organic matter. These instructions now made nonsensical by the nation's climate experts. As is the position adopted by a president who in the past scoffed at the entire concept of climate change. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera, Washington.
The purpose of this report is not to break new ground so much as to say what the current state of climate science is. It's a summary, and that assessment is what climate scientists have been saying for years now, which is, we are quickly approaching a point where if we don't stop putting carbon in the atmosphere, we're going to pass kind of a point of no return of increasingly dire consequences for humanity. And this report says that's happening even faster than was predicted in the past. The assessment directly contradicts both the statements of President Trump and senior members of his administration, including Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Scott Pruitt, who cast climate science as being in doubt, saying that it's not yet certain what the negative impacts of climate change will be. The president has called climate change a hoax. Pruitt, for his part, says that climate change is happening, but that there's uncertainty about what the impacts will be, and he has talked about some of the predictions of negative impacts being alarmist. Climate scientists who were co-authors of the study, the Associated Press spoke to 4 of them, they say they've seen no evidence yet that the Trump administration is trying to meddle in the process or water down the report. However, given those public positions of the administration, the President Trump pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, they are concerned that there will be some meddling, that there will be an effort to undercut or cast doubt on the findings.